Amazon sellers never see a place like this. This is the reason that I can travel the world, work just 1 to 2 hours per day, and still make over 30 grand profit per month from Amazon FBA. Today, I'm gonna be taking you inside one of the 2 prep centers that I use, introducing you to Alex and Gage, the owners of this place, and showing you exactly how this operation works behind the scenes, as well as how it plugs into my own business directly. By the end of this video, you're gonna understand exactly why a lot of sellers just struggle with the workload of doing FBA and just stay small, and why I am not one of those sellers. So let's get into it. Every single one of these parcels belongs to an Amazon seller. Some of them are doing just 2 to 3K revenue per month, whilst a lot of them are doing 50 to 100K plus. And none of them are packing their boxes at home. So here I'm at All Things Prep. This is the wonderful Alex. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thank you for having me. And this is Gage. So these are the owners of All Things Prep and the people that kind of put me onto Amazon in the first place all these years ago and who I still work with today. So yeah, guys, would you mind walking me through what happens when items are first delivered here and how do they end up getting shipped out to Amazon a day later? What's the whole kind of process?
So basically, your lovely cameraman is currently stood in front of the shutter. Drivers arrive. We've got cameras outside. We've got cameras up on the top of the unit. The cameras outside, they track number plates, they scan faces of drivers so we can assign all of the parcels to a specific delivery to that driver. Once they've been dropped off here, we've got more cameras inside that record their process throughout the whole journey. We've got our own app that we developed. One of the staff brings the device in here. They'll just hold it over the top of the barcode like any delivery driver. It scans it. That photo is automatically uploaded onto our cloud server, and then that goes straight to the website. You can search the same tracking number the company gives you on our website and it will send you a picture of your parcel. Once that's then received, it goes into our sorting area with one of our staff and goes into your own independent bag. If you're a smaller seller, you might have 1 bag. If you're a larger seller, you might have 10 bags.
For me, I've got a whole corner.
yeah, for the whole corner.
Lucky, lovely. So after it's all sorted, what happens then? When does it kind of get picked and packed and kind of who's doing it? Where does the magic happen? Do you want to walk us through the unit?
The products come through into this area. So we've tidied it up a bit.
Yeah, might I just say, this is the cleanest I've seen this place, probably the entire time that I've been a client.
Usually there's bags running down all the way in lines, but obviously we knew you were coming. We didn't want to leave everyone's products out lying around. So the staff would come out here, they just grab one of the bags, slide it out to their own stations. Everyone has their own station, and then they'll start working on the products. In general, most people get enough deliveries where we're doing their shipments every day or so. But with newer clients and smaller shipments, we don't want to ship it all at once because we don't want to charge you more for our services.
Way more in shipping costs if you're doing
Amazon
that.
charging you more and UPS charging you more. So sometimes there are some delays, but that's based on scale.
Yeah.
The more you send, the faster it is.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So can you show us the other unit you have? Because you've actually got 2 warehouses, one for just receiving goods and one for processing the kind of outbound stuff.
We have our own custom doorway here.
Custom doorway, yeah, very professional, and a little pull-up bar.
Price, Felix.
Pretty nice.
We have one side of the warehouse which is mainly just packing parcels. 4 stations here. Currently Matt's over there, he's doing all of the eBay reimbursement sort of stuff where you get returns, he grades them, lists them on eBay and then sends them out all for you. We take care of it all, photos, grading, listing, the whole job. Yeah. This side, Alfie, who we've stolen to film this video, should be packing at his desk, but we're making a different use of him now. All multifaceted employees.
Yeah, got a brilliant team.
So once the items come through, they'll be found in a bag here. So this will be Alfie's workload for the moment. He'll go through, open everything up, mark it on our own website with our custom dashboard and everything. Once that's done, he'll create a shipment, pack it all up, and move it over to our outbound pile over here. So this shutter will open up every day when the UPS van comes. We'll load it all for UPS and it will be out usually same day or next day.
So now we're up here in the kind of storage part of the warehouse. So behind me, I believe this is all the kind of not working goods that people have sent here that hasn't been added to inventory or they're gated on or something like that. So this is where everything gets stored. And behind the camera, which I'll probably put in a little clip here, is just a massive load of even more stock that has to be processed and sent in.
Those 4 bags are yours, aren't they?
That is all my customer returns that's awaiting sending back to the supplier. Hopefully one day they'll let me send them back. Still negotiating that one. But yeah, it's just storage pretty much. I mean, I think something like this floor kind of puts in perspective the difference between having a prep center, using a prep center, and having all this stuff at home. Because obviously this is a bunch of different sellers. But I remember what my flat was like when I first started doing Amazon and I hadn't yet started using the prep center. And it was like a mini warehouse. It was just like floor to ceiling cardboard boxes, like mess just everywhere. And at one point, literally in the month before joining this prep center, I was spending at least like 6 to 8 hours a day just prepping, because I had so much stock. It was just a waste of time, really. Like when you can outsource it for 50p a unit and you're making a couple quid per unit at least, if not a lot more anyway, there's just not a whole lot of reason to spend that kind of time prepping when you can be sourcing or doing like anything else that is like a better use of your time than something.
I think just the area that's currently in camera view is probably bigger than most people's living rooms.
Oh yeah, for sure. This is like my ground floor for my house, pretty much. This is one floor in the warehouse.
I mean, 60% of the area up here is full of people's stuff coming in and out. This could be your corridor. If you're at home with your parents, I remember when I started, I had to get a warehouse.
Yeah.
You know, it was live in a warehouse or get a warehouse and move the stuff out quickly, you know, because I wasn't going to be in a house for much longer.
Yeah. Even now, to be fair, I've got a whole bunch of like random returns in my office at home. It's nice when I get to just drop them off here and I'm like, all right, this is your guys' problem now. You sort this. I'm bored of it just sitting in a corner for 2 months.
So when I lived with my mum, you know, I think a big thing people overlook is how many deliveries you'll have to receive. So all day, every day, if you're doing things right, you're going to be getting that ring on the door or the knock on the door. And like, it's so annoying. You know, I always found that so disturbing when I'm trying to work, you know, you're kind of in like a flow state. Every 15 minutes, ding dong, takes you out, right? That used to annoy me to no end. And I remember how frustrated my mum would be that there'd be boxes all over, you know, the living room or my room or whatever. It was a never ending headache. And at some point I was prepping 2 to 3 hours a day. And you have to think, what is the opportunity cost of that? So if I spent 3 hours doing something else, like sourcing, analyzing deals, even, you know, speaking to people, that's probably worth more than 50p a unit.
100%.
So once I put that in perspective, I, you know, bit the bullet and decided, right, I'm just going to pay. And I've never looked back. You know, we didn't initially start with this prep center. I was using someone else's service. Realized, you know, it wasn't that great and we could do better. And, you know, we proceeded to set this up.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive what you've done and how long it's been around. I mean, out of all the prep centers I know, I think All Things Prepping is probably the longest kind of running one. I mean, obviously predates me doing Amazon. And there's a lot of people that were big sellers when I joined and don't even do Amazon anymore because they've moved on to other things. And yeah, it's pretty cool how long it's been around.
Yeah, I actually hate the sound of a doorbell so much, I turn mine off at home. Like,
I remember you saying the other day.
Yeah, I'm sick of it. Like I can't, it actually just sends shivers down my spine. I was hearing it so much.
Well,
so
leave me alone.
Yeah, if you hate the doorbell as much as I do, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I think we forget how inconvenient it was waiting for UPS to turn up.
Yeah.
That's your day until like someone either has to be at home.
Yeah.
Or
Speaking of delivery drivers, I think a guy has just pulled up with another van load of stock. You might have to go and deal with that. And we'll resume the Q&A in a little moment.
Yes. Life of working in an active warehouse.
1 minute later.
So what does your typical client look like in terms of kind of revenue? You know, is everyone here like a multi-7-figure FBA seller, or do you have smaller clients, or?
We have a whole range of clients. You know, some of the smaller clients end up taking up more time than some of the larger clients, you know, and that all comes down to the way they've set their businesses up. At the beginning, we were all slow. We didn't really know what we were doing. And the more you scale up, the more you know about the business. We've been doing this 4.5 years now.
Yeah.
So obviously all of our staff know all of these terms like MSKU not working. A lot of the beginning process is educating people on what the different things, because some people start the prep center without ever sending their own shipment.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily recommend doing that. You need to understand your own shipping process. You need to understand how difficult it is to do it all from home and understand what all these things mean to actually successfully use a prep center as well.
I also think like So some of our clients, like you said, they've never done a shipment before. Those people tend to be, they live in a flat or they have a really busy life. They already have a good income and they're looking to build a second stream quickly without having to do all of the faffing around that is prep. So that's probably half of our user base, and then the other half are already really successful sellers. And they're, if they had to prep it themselves, they're prepping 3, 4, 5, 6 hours a day. They offload the workflow to us. So yeah, a real mixed bag actually. Not all 7-figure sellers for sure.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you do all this stuff, right? But why can't Amazon sellers just send it to Amazon themselves? Why can't they just, when they're on these retailer websites, just go, yep, send it to BX4 or whatever it's called, the one, the terrible one. Why can't they just send it to these fulfillment centers themselves?
I mean, that would be fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That before I had a prep center, that was my dream. Instead of getting stuff sent to my house, I could just send it straight to the warehouse. But that isn't a thing. So Amazon require most, if not all things to be FN skewed. So if you don't know what that means, it's like their own unique Amazon barcode that they use in their warehouse that they can scan in and scan out products. If you could somehow get a retailer to print out your FN SKUs and stick them on for you, then we would be out of business. But unfortunately, that isn't a thing.
Even then, we still wouldn't be out of business because Amazon asks for their own FBA label on every box, detailing the contents of every.
It would be, outside of doing private label and shipping it direct from like the factory in China to Amazon, which I know some brands do, I can't see it being really feasible.
Yeah, I mean, interestingly, I had a wholesaler in the US for my US seller account that offered to send stuff direct to Amazon for me. But the cost for them to prep it was actually more than have it sent to my warehouse and then them prep it and then them send it in.
A bit strange, really. When you think about how much kind of extra travel that inventory has to go.
Yeah.
So how quickly can inventory go from landing here through the shutter that we saw earlier in the video to actually getting sent out the door?
I think for most stuff, it's within a day, right? If you have loads of stuff coming in, you will get 1, if not 2 shipments every single day for you. If you're kind of a smaller seller like we spoke about earlier, you might need 2 or 3 days for your stuff to build up so we can fill up a whole box. We don't like shipping stuff that's inefficient. If we've got to ship 20% of a box used and you've got to pay for a whole box for UPS, that's not great for you, doesn't feel great for us, so we'll happily leave it.
Yeah.
I think when it's with UPS, it can be like probably 3 to 7 days until it's in your Amazon inventory. And fingers crossed you've got no FC transfer, because if you don't, then you're ready to sell in 3 to 4 days.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. So if I didn't have you guys and I was sending the kind of amount that I send to you now, it's obviously a lot more than what I sent in the first place when I first signed up, when I was still prepping crazy in my flat. How many hours a day do you think I'd be working?
Someone is prepping for you a lot of the time.
Yeah.
These are people that do it for a living. You've got your own life to live. You've got doorbells to answer. You've got girlfriends to take out to dinner. You've got parents to go and see. These guys just come here 9 to 5, 8 to 4, and all they do is pack boxes all day.
Yeah.
There's no distractions for them other than packing boxes. So you could be spending half your day every day just packing boxes.
I think full-time job for you, Felix, if you were to take it over
probably
yourself.
40-hour sort of work week.
Yeah. And to be honest, you get so much stuff, you could have your own warehouse and hire your own staff, but that's a headache in itself.
No, I've run the numbers for this. I don't think it would be viable for
Really?
me. I think my monthly prep cost, because a lot of the stuff I sell is quite expensive goods, so I'm making a lot of profit per unit, and obviously you bill by the unit, which is great for me. So I'm not paying a huge amount despite the kind of huge profits. So I've worked out like my prep bill each month would maybe just about cover the rent for like one of these warehouse units. But then that's not factoring in staff. You've got to have someone here Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, to at least one person, if not multiple, kind of for deliveries.
On a full-time job is near $2,000 in monthly expenses.
Yeah, so already we're probably on about like 4 or 5 grand a month in expenses,
not
which is
including their national insurance contributions.
Yeah.
Those bloody taxes.
I don't
We don't pay them.
that. This is why I only hire overseas staff. How many parcels or like units would you say come through here in a typical week? Do you have any actual idea?
So in November we were shipping between 10 and 15,000 units a week.
Yeah, fair enough. So you bang on target.
Yes.
And my final question for you, what is the craziest day for volume you've ever had? Like, have you ever had it where stuff has just been like exploding out the warehouse and it's been impossible to even like keep on track of it?
See, luckily those days are behind us.
Yeah.
But in the early days, we had a very, very hectic Christmas about 3 years ago.
When we only had 1 unit.
Yeah.
I think when we had these 2 units, we had boxes going in this shutter. They ran all the way downstairs into the other warehouse, upstairs into the other warehouse, and we had an alleyway built between the boxes that you had to walk down sideways. And these were the days where everyone was ordering air fryers and printers.
Big bulky units.
Big bulky units. We've probably got more units in here now than we did then, but you couldn't move. And we had to go to our local UPS and beg them to send a 45-foot Arctic lorry, which turned up, blocked most of our road, and was full to the brim by the end of it. We had about 8 members of staff loading it for half an hour.
Damn.
It's so important to have like a good relationship with the UPS people though. Like I think that's really overlooked.
Really are your partners in crime in this kind of business.
Exactly, and you know, I've heard about other prep centres where UPS has like refused to pick them up because there's so many parcels. They don't want to come and get them. Thankfully, we have a really good relationship.
This doesn't
with
make
them.
any sense to me. Like, what do you mean you don't want to pick up the parcels that we're paying you to pick up because there's too many?
Like, we've already paid for them to be picked up. And well, you've paid us now.
Yeah.
And we did have that problem in the beginning, and it took a lot of talking to the drivers and asking
a lot of
for
bottles
phone
of whiskey.
numbers. Yeah. We did buy one of them a bottle of Blue Label.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden we have really good UPS collection.
Just all on first name basis with everyone.
And unfortunately, that UPS driver we bought the bottle of Blue Label for, he got banned for drunk driving. So
yeah, but like 2 years afterwards. So nothing to do with us.
I'm sure it was unrelated to the Blue Label we bought him.
That could have been the slope that you sent him down.
He did say he was a retired alcoholic. But,
It was hilarious. Well, thank you for kind of answering all my questions today. It's been super, super interesting. It's almost been like a mini podcast episode hearing all these stories, and I'm sure everyone watching has absolutely loved it. So yeah, let me show you guys how this actually integrates with my own business. So how does All Things Prep here actually integrate with my own business? So it's actually really, really simple. They've actually launched a brand new dashboard. So I used to just use a Google Sheet spreadsheet, but to be honest, especially at my sort of scale, it's pretty hard to track, 5,000 different SKUs on a single spreadsheet. So the new dashboard does a really good job. You can see here my kind of total units sent, what's been delivered so far this month, what's still expected. We head over to the sheet section. This is where you will actually add the items and the SKUs and the ASINs, basically telling All Things Prep exactly what they're expecting to receive, kind of what date you've ordered it from, the order numbers, stuff like that, so they can cross-reference your shipments. And then once those items are delivered, they're able to kind of put it through their workflow and basically get it sent out to Amazon. So I'm gonna have to blur my sheet here, at least the kind of details, because I don't want you guys to know what I've been buying. But yeah, you see lots of items on here. So you can see on the tracking tab as well what shipments they've done lately. So the most recent one they've done for me, you can see it had about 800 units in it at a total cost of £385. So yeah, that's a lot of units. We've also got parcel tracking. So here, if you're kind of missing an item, say the retailer said they've delivered it, All Things Prep are saying they haven't kind of received it, you can enter in that tracking number. That will give you a photo of the parcel. It will kind of flag up whether it's actually been scanned in at All Things Prep. Or obviously if it's showing as delivered on the tracking, it's not coming up on their system, you can then contact them to kind of initiate an investigation. We've got the reconciliation tab as well. So in here, this is where you can kind of start the investigations and kind of see what items are missing from shipments that would have been expected. Maybe the retailer has only sent you 8 of something when you ordered 9 or 10 units, that sort of thing. It's just a really, really easy way to know whether a retailer maybe has sent you 9 items instead of the 10 that you ordered, and that way you can just quickly raise an investigation and get it sorted. Then we've just got kind of some prep data as well, so this is all just pulled in through kind of the legacy Google Sheet. Info tabs, so just kind of a bit of information, kind of including what their fees are. Messaging as well, if you want to kind of start a conversation with them, or obviously just invoicing in your kind of account settings. So it's all pretty straightforward. It's basically just upload it to a spreadsheet, tell them what's going to be there, and then make sure that inventory is added to your inventory on Amazon. Once it arrives, they'll send it off, and it really is as simple as that. 3 years ago, I was printing labels in my living room. I was labeling up stock I bought from my local B&M and Savers stores. Nowadays, I'm flying to Malaysia later today to start another 2-month tour of Southeast Asia, and that's only possible with wonderful people like the guys at All Things Prep. They'll be working for me in the UK whilst I'm out living my dreams. And the difference isn't luck, it's just having these systems in place so that the work gets done on your behalf. So this is what scaling actually looks like on the ground, not just screenshots, not just revenue numbers. real systems, real infrastructure, and real people. This is the reason that I'm able to travel the world, work minimal hours, and still stay consistent with profits over 30 grand per month. So if you're trying to build an Amazon FBA business and you want to skip years of trial and error, you can book a free call with me down below in the video description at the top. I'll then be able to walk you through exactly what you need to do based on your starting capital and your situation. And if you're not ready for that yet, then make sure to like and subscribe and watch the full free course on my channel up here, where I'm going to break down everything step by step. So I'll catch you guys in the next one.